Mr. Schulz.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Over the past couple of weeks or the past few months, there have been many comments made regarding the millage rate. Since I made the motion in 2013, I would like to read my statement from July 16, 2013. I feel it is important that we discuss the facts and not hearsay. So bear with me as I read that statement from July 16, 2013. I've been on the Board of Commissioners for 5 years, and every year we had to make deep cuts in the budget due to a declining tax digest. In 2013, we were operating with $10 million less than when I took office. We asked our department heads every year for major budget cuts that fall largely on the backs of county employees who themselves pay taxes and try to put food on the table. All citizens, including those on the board, want the assurance that we will have safe water, safe roads, bridges, ports, law enforcement, fire, emergency protection, solid waste management, recreational opportunities, and we want the assurance that those services will be provided efficiently and cost-effectively. What we need is a long-term strategic plan that will ensure financial solvency into the future, lessen the tax burden on private property owners, find government efficiencies across service delivery parameters, develop new revenue streams, including grants from other funders, and boost economic development through new investment and better paying jobs. Citizen input will be vital to this strategic planning process. As painful as it was at that time, I supported the rollback millage rate. We would not have to dip into our reserves, which would negatively affect our credit rating and borrowing costs. I moved to adopt the millage rate of 11.54 as advertised in the Covington News and printed in the board book, with the understanding that this board would begin a strategic budget planning process with the goal of lowering the millage rate within 2 years. Last year, and please note that statement was to lower the millage rate within 2 years. Last year, we successfully were able to lower the millage rate from 11.54 to 11.225. And I subsequently made these remarks. Everyone spent a lot of hard work and time over the course of the year to look at ways to improve the health of our organization. We started with a strategic planning process, but I didn't think our work was over. I was happy to reduce the millage rate last year, but I didn't think any of us wanted to stay there. I think we need to continue the strategic planning process so that we can ultimately be where we want to be. With that, we have to make sure we are providing for the services of our county. Now, as I read these two statements, there are three recurring themes that become evident. The provision of a strategic plan is important for our success. This process was helpful in our ability to lower the millage rate last year. Please note that a slow recovery of our tax digest has compounded our ability to rebound from the declining tax values and impedes our ability to make significant progress. The primary responsibility of our government is to provide services. During the strategic planning process we began in 2013, this board identified as its priorities purchasing and implementing a new financial software. I believe all of us can agree that this was one of the best purchases we made. It has provided us the tool we need to accurately track our budgets and expenditures. It has illuminated for us glaring deficiencies in our previous system, and with this current budget process, we are closer to a true picture of our financial outlook. Another priority was to strengthen our organization. We have dedicated employees. For far too long, they bore the brunt of our economic hardship. But we have now restored their furlough days and propose an increase to begin in January. Meanwhile, we have provided a competitive wage for our public safety employees. I know I appreciate every time they risk their lives for my safety, and I imagine the remaining 100,000 plus citizens feel the same. We pledged to address our solid waste management and our government structure, and with the aid of our Citizens Committee, we should have recommendations soon. We also have increased our transparency, and we continue to make strides in this category. In closing, I want to reassure the public that this board takes the fiduciary responsibility of balancing a budget very seriously. Commissioner Maddox and I spent another hour and a half this morning with Michelle Kelly sifting through the budget requests for any waste. After careful scrutiny, I believe a budget not to exceed $53,700,000 is best for providing the services necessary to operate Newton County efficiently. Now, that being said, we will continue to look for ways to make sure that we have the most accurate numbers possible for that amount of money that we are identifying as our budget. Once we have the final digest numbers next week, we will be in a position to accurately determine the exact millage rate. There's no question that the millage will increase for FY 2016. The only way to responsibly lower the millage is to continue to work together through the citizen engagement we've begun, and I strongly encourage that we revisit and update the strategic plan as soon as possible. Thank you, Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Schulz.